answer for it, and
Absolutely.
keep moving from there. That's exactly what I've been on, and I've been doing it quite a bit. And now I feel like I'm finally at a place where I have gotten all of the questions figured out, and now it's now start putting those into action and
Awesome.
working on them. So it's pretty cool.
Well, if there's anything that I can do to help you out, answer questions,
Absolutely.
clarify things, whatever, please feel free to reach out. My DMs are always open. I'm more
Yeah,
than
I
happy to answer
appreciate it.
whatever questions that come up.
I still
Sweet.
can't believe you invite people into your DMs in front of me.
At least you know about it. At least I'm not doing it behind your back.
That doesn't make me feel
Very
any
true.
better. Um, no,
No intro video.
so
We're just a slam cut right in.
start.
Sounds good.
So we just
Okay. We're trying stuff behind the scenes over here, so.
All right.
So this one looks like it's probably going to be a shorter one, which is perfectly fine. I think everybody deserves their Saturday. So, do I have a volunteer to go first for the cold reads?
Let's do it. I'll jump on it. I've
All
been
right. So we
picking
will
at it.
let's get our little intro dealy done, and
All right.
then I'll hand it over to you.
Just let
All
me know
right,
when.
babe. I think we're ready to start. No problem. All right, we good? Hello, everybody. We're continuing Spooktober with the Call of Cthulhu. Although it looks like up on the screen right now is. There we are. We're all good now. Yes, Call of Cthulhu. I don't think I've ever actually read this one myself, but after reading this little excerpt and looking for it specifically, because I don't think I've ever actually seen like where Cthulhu comes up, I'm more interested now, and hopefully you guys will too. So let's go ahead and start the cold reads. Richard, whenever you're ready, let's
All
hear it.
right. Thank you. The odor arising from the newly opened depths was intolerable, and at length the quick-eared Hawkins thought he heard a nasty, slopping sound down there. Everyone listened, and everyone was listening still when it lumbered slobberingly into sight and gropingly squeezed its gelatinous green immensity through the black doorway into the tainted outside air of that poison city of madness. The thing cannot be described. There was no language of such abysms of shrieking and immemorial lunacy, such eldritch contradictions of all matter of force and cosmic order. The thing of the idols, the green, sticky spawn of the stars, had awakened to claim his own. The stars were right again, and what an age-old cult had failed to do by design, a band of innocent sailors had done by accident. After vigintillions of years, great Cthulhu was loose again, and ravening for delight.
All right, Richard, you get to choose who goes next.
I'm gonna throw it to Josher.
All right, Josh, you're up.
Alrighty then. With pleasure. The odor arising from the newly opened depths was intolerable, and at length the quick-eared Hawkins thought he heard a nasty, slopping sound down there. Everyone listened, and everyone was listening still when it lumbered slobberingly into sight and gropingly squeezed its gelatinous green immensely through the black doorway into the fainted outside air that poisoned the city of madness. The thing cannot be described. There is no language for such abysms of shrieking and immemorable lunacy. Such eldritch contradictions of all matter, force, and cosmic order. The thing of idols, the green, sticky spawn of the stars, had awakened to claim his own. The stars were right again, and what an age-old cult had failed to do by design, a band of innocent sailors had done by accident. After vigintillions of years, great Cthulhu was loose again and ravaging for delight. Mark.
Okay, here we go. The odor arising from the newly opened depths was intolerable, and at that length the quick-eared Hawkins thought he heard a nasty, slopping sound down there. Everyone listened, and everyone was listening still when it lumbered slobberingly into the sight and gropingly squeezed its gelatinous green immensity through the back doorway into the tainted outside air of that poisoned city of madness. The thing cannot be described. There is no such language for such abysms of shrieking and immoral lunacy, such eldritch contradictions of all matter, force, and cosmic order. The thing of idols, the green, sticky spawn of the stars, had awakened to claim its own. The stars were right again, and what an age-old cult had failed to do by design, a band of innocent sailors had done by accident. After vigintillions of years, the great Cthulhu was loose again, and ravening for delight. We will go with James.
Give me just a second. I'm still messing with my stuff.
1,000 to 1.
Yeah. Okay. Not an actual second.
Do you want somebody else to go first then?
Yeah,
before we
please.
move?
I just got set up in my booth. So
Okay, I'll go ahead and go next then.
Alright.
Just noting that down. The odor arising from the newly opened depths was intolerable, and at length the quick-eared Hawkins thought he heard a nasty, slopping sound down there. Everyone listened, and everyone was listening still when it lumbered slobberingly into sight and gropingly squeezed its gelatinous green immensity through the black doorway into the tainted outside air of that poisoned city of madness. The thing cannot be described. There is no language for such abysms of shrieking and immemorial lunacy, such eldritch contradictions of all matter, force, and cosmic order. The thing of the idols, the green, sticky spawn of the stars, had awakened to claim his own. The stars were right again, and what an age-old cult had failed to do by design, a band of innocent sailors had done by accident. After vigintillions of years, great Cthulhu was loose again, and ravening for delight. All right. James, did I give you enough time? Or do you still need a little bit more?
I should be good.
All right. Then whenever you're ready.
The odor arising from the newly opened depths was intolerable, and at length the quick-eared Hawkins thought he heard a nasty, slopping sound down there. Everyone listened, and everyone was listening still when it lumbered slobberingly into sight and gropingly squeezed its gelatinous green immensity through the black doorway into the tainted outside air of that poisoned city of madness. The thing cannot be described. There is no language for such abysms of shrieking and immemorial lunacy, such eldritch contradictions of all matter, force, and cosmic order. The thing of idols, the green, sticky spawn of the stars, had awaked to claim its own. The stars were right again, and what an age-old cult had failed to do by design, a band of innocent sailors had done by accident. After vigintillions of years, great Cthulhu was loose again and ravening for delight.
Okay. So, this uses a few words. Uh,
Some big ones.
yeah.
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 Big words hurt.
Um, let's see. Let's see. What are some of the ones that are causing some issues here? We have
Vigintillion?
Billion for
vigintillions.
sure.
Vigintillions.
Immemorial?
Oh yeah, immemorial. Okay. Um,
Slobberingly.
Slobberingly for sure.
Slobbering.
Yeah.
Bit of a tongue
That's a
twister
lot.
himself.
slobberingly inside, gropingly squeezed this gelatinous green immensity. It's just it uses some words.
Yeah.
This one uses some words, but that's a good
Ne-
thing
You
because
need a
we gotta get
Harvard
used to those.
degree.
Save it, please. Thank you. This is not a good time. She's trying to offer me food right now. A dry biscuit.
Michael, just be a
Thank
be a
you.
good husband and take it.
I will, but not right now. So, yes, Vigintillion is actually, I think it's like a 1 with 26 zeros after it.
Sounds about right.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
63.
Six-
63.
God.
One with
Wow.
63 zeros after it.
I feel
That's
like
a lot.
that's very old.
I'm sorry, what? What was that, Carissa?
In America, it is 63 zeros.
Okay, in America it's 63 zeros.
In England, it's 120.
In England it's 120 zeros.
Wow.
So,
It's a
needless to
conversion
say,
rate?
Vigintillion basically just means a friggin' long time.
Yeah.
A really, really, really long time. But yes, it's Vigintillion. So if you need to break that down a little bit, if you need to write it down somewhere, break it up, however you need to do it to get that pronunciation down. Vigintillion. Immemorial. I hate to say it, I think immemorial is not all that complicated, but I mean immemorial. So it's like 5 syllables. Well, I mean, it is a 5-syllable word. But yeah, if there is a word that does come up that is difficult for you, I would 100% suggest just Googling it. Just type it in. Always try to gather information from as many different sources as you possibly can. Copy and paste the word into Google. You can always find a pronunciation guide as well. They usually have one where it's like recorded, or they just use an AI voice to let you hear how to pronounce it. But this is something I think is really really key when getting auditions with words that you don't quite understand. Always, 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 always do the legwork to Google the words, to Google what it is, to figure out specifically what it is you're trying to say. Um, only when it is completely unknown to you, or if it is entirely original and it is not described, um, that is when you should ask specifically for some feedback. Um, so, for instance, like an example of you needing like a pronunciation guide for the text itself would specifically be for things like fantasy settings or sci-fi settings where they're talking about, alien creatures or species that they've made up, or certain species in the world that are part of just that fantasy setting. So, for instance, if you're reading something from the like Forgotten Realms, Dungeons and Dragons, you might come across things like, if you're going into the Underdark, you'll run into Dwergar and Svirfneblin. So you kind of have to like ask specifically how to pronounce those things because those are wholly original. But with this, these words first check Google. If not, then ask. Right? Always good to try and gather up as much information for yourself as possible. That being said, let's try to glean as much information as we can from the text itself. Tell me about who is speaking. What can we tell about them?
He's horrified, or they're horrified.
Okay.
Hmm. Scarred.
Don't really have a whole lot of writing space, don't I? Horrified, scarred. Both of these are good.
Mm.
Uh, of course, I skipped this. Um,
M-
usage: voiceover, voice
Mike.
under.
Voice over, I think.
Okay.
Can you, sorry, briefly describe the difference again?
Yes. So that generally indicates mic technique. Voice over is when your voice is supposed to be front and center and it is the
Right.
main focus of
Right.
the text or of the piece itself. Voice under is where your voice is actually working off something that you want somebody to pay attention to. So a great like archetypal example of voice under would be car commercials because
Mm-hmm.
you are trying to get them to pay attention to the imagery and the feelings
Mm-hmm.
and the whatever they're showing on screen versus being the center of attention.
Mm.
Really archetypal voice over narration would be something like audio commercials, something where it's just you and all attention and focus is on you.
Gotcha. I would definitely say voice over for this then.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, no, this is 100% voiceover
Yeah.
because audiobook,
Yeah.
character work. Since this is in first person narration, um, actually, I don't even think I. No, I didn't. I didn't add any of this. Well, anyway, spoiler alert. This is all in first person narration, which
No,
means
okay.
you are specifically a character in the scene.
Yes.
So, yeah, let's try to glean whatever we can from this character or about this character from the
Mm-hmm.
script itself. So, talk to me. What are you thinking? So we've got what was it? Horrified and scarred, I think it was, something like that.
Mm-hmm. I feel like
Traumatized.
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 Hmm?
I feel like there's very much a heavy underline of a warning in this. They are so scared they're trying to warn other people.
Okay.
Other things about their character I get is they're educated, probably a historian architect sort of type of person who's hired some sailors just for that last line of a band of innocent sailors had done by accident. That is his group, I'm assuming.
Okay. Any other thoughts?
I don't
I
know if
like
this
the
person.
educated one. Sorry, go ahead, Mark.
I'm sorry. I don't know if this person might be still just processing what just happened because clearly this was a
Mm-hmm.
very significant event in their lives,
So maybe he's
and
still in a little bit of shock.
yeah, I'd say they're definitely still kind of reeling from that shock. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can hear it in the background, but it sounds like I don't know, like my neighbors are just taking like metal balls and just dropping them onto the floor over and over again.
I know that feeling, and it scares the hell out of me. Dead quiet in my room, and you hear a fucking, you hear a big bang, and it
Yeah, it's annoying.
scares the hell out of me.
Hello.
Hello there.
Throw my not too pretty. My
Hello,
camera's
hello.
there we go. A bit of a
So
situation.
I
If
wish
you
I
don't
could
want to,
turn
that's
on
fine.
I wish I
could
could
be in
turn
my
on my
booth, but I'm
camera.
lazy.
I wish I could, but it's not letting me. So
Oh well, it's all right. A camera's not it's not necessary, but it is helpful to figure out what you're doing behind the microphone.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
All right. So we've got scared, horrified, traumatized. They're educated, but they're also shocked about what's going on. Does that
Mm-hmm.
seem like a pretty decent like overview of this character and their reactions to things?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, I think it's a good. I think we got a good general thing to work with here
Yeah.
because um, there really isn't a whole heck of a lot about the background of this individual through the
Mm-hmm.
text itself. So I did try to look for some initially. I tried to go back up to the top and see what was going on, see who this person is, maybe what they do for a living. Nothing. Nothing. All it is that they're thrust into this situation right from the get-go, and it is a complete shock from them, essentially from moment one. But they start uncovering this mystery about this cult and this place, and they end up here and unintentionally opening up this this doorway and letting this thing through. So yeah, I think a lot of that is really good. Again, though, something that I want to note is that um, this is in past tense. So whatever it is that this person is, or whenever it is this person's talking about it, all of these events happened to them previously. So they're recalling it. Um, I would say just be really, really mindful of what that feels like too when you're recalling. I don't know if I hope you guys haven't, but if you've ever had a very strong or even potentially traumatic event in your own life, and you go and you recall that and you feel those emotions again, you might go through that again. Think of that experience with this. Obviously, don't go too far if it is too strong of an experience for you. But drawing from your own experience in looking back on an experience that really just stuck so heavily in your mind is going to be super duper important to draw from with this. It's going to make it sound much more grounded and much more real. Now, let's go ahead and talk about specifically what is happening in the script because it uses a lot of flowery language and it's very easy to lose um, specifically what you're trying to say in that flowery language. So if we could get like a super brief overview of the story of the script, how would you guys do it? Like one or two sentences.
I would say they are a group going through some ruins. They uncover a crypt of some sort that catches their attention, and out of that crypt comes a very disgusting monster that scares them to the core of their psyche. Yeah.
Any other thoughts? No, nobody's done the nobody thought to summarize this for themselves.
I would
I would say
say, no, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead, Paul.
what the the abomination, because right now it sounds like a true abomination of what you saw, what you released is beyond description, beyond words. That
Mhm.
type of horror.
I think it's less a spooky monster and more a representation of,
Evil.
yeah, everything that doesn't exist or make sense. It is so grandiosely important we can't even comprehend it.
I would say whatever it was you released, you found out why it was supposed to stay locked up. It is the
Yeah.
manifestation of what did we just do?
Mhm.
Mark, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, no, I was kind of gonna piggyback off of what Richard said. A group of people just kind of ran into an area that they probably shouldn't have been in, and something came out, and it's something that just can't be described and is beyond all horrors. And so,
So that being said, since we all have a pretty good consensus on specifically like the background and the overall message of this, that being said, I feel that with this script, it's really really important to lean heavily into every descriptor you can go you find.
Mm.
Intolerable in the very first sentence. Thought he heard a nasty slopping sound, right? Like you're this is visceral for you. You are hearing this sound, whatever it is. I don't know if you've ever like have you guys ever seen like somebody like preparing octopus? I know this is a really really weird question, but have you guys ever seen that before?
Yeah.
No? Oh, you okay? You have. Okay.
Yeah.
So what they have to do is they have to take the octopus and they basically give it a salt bath. And while they're giving it this salt bath, they rub salt over everything. Salt naturally brings out like moisture and stuff like that. So imagine this already gelatinous creature becoming more and more liquidy and having to slop around over and over again as they're mixing more and more salt and massaging that through everything. It
Mhm.
is a unique sound. And it is definitely something I think you should check out if you want to know specifically like what a nasty slopping sound can really sound like. Because man, is it just that. It is a nasty slopping sound. And it those are the kinds of things that I think really need to be present here. If this is such a super impressive, like traumatic and sticking moment for this person, then every descriptive term you can come across should be um, just highlighted as much as possible,
Hmm.
right? Because this is one of the worst sensory experiences you've ever had in your life.
Yeah. I think
So,
also the choice of words, the words themselves are very important, and the choices as opposed to other things like the gelatinous green immensity. Its form is only described as an immensity.
mhm.
Like that's I have an idea of what that is, but it's so like again, just that beyond comprehension kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. I love one of the things that I appreciate now after reading this versus like some of the other descriptions that I've read of Cthulhu is how little is actually given to you and how much is left up to your imagination.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because it doesn't actually say. Like, it just, the thing of idols, green, sticky, immense,
Yeah.
what is it, nasty, slopping. Those are the only descriptions that are given. It's not, there's no face um, tentacles or anything like that. I mean, I'm sure that comes up later on, but like this is left up to you. And I think just that, just leaning into that vagueness is
Hmm.
really going to sell how horrific this thing is.
Hmm.
So really lean into that. Make sure that those descriptive words are the things that you viscerally feel that like elicits some kind of a tingle up the back of your neck, or like you can hear that slopping noise, smell that horrendous odor. Those are the kinds of things that I think you really should be doing here.
Hmm.
So this is less like a direct character study. This is less about like really um, defining what this character should be and more about their experience. I think that this kind of a script is super experience like is experiential a word like or am I just
Hmm.
making that up?
Sounds
It's
like a word to me.
I mean, it's the
I've
best
heard it
I've got.
before.
Yeah.
You're not the first that said it, so
Yeah.
sure, we'll say it's a
So
word.
yeah.
sensory. It's very sensory.
Kind of
Um
sounds like an LSD trip or something.
yeah,
Like
kind
it's
of, right?
like it's a crazy trip for sure.
Yeah. So this is definitely something that I feel is super duper important with particularly not just with audiobooks, but with audiobooks that take place from a first person point of view and are extremely descriptive. So, you're not telling us about the horror, you are re-experiencing it and we are feeling it through your frame of reference. That's what makes this so compelling as a script to me. Um So before we get back into the reads, does anybody have any questions, comments, anything like that about the script, about what's being said, about how to communicate something, anything at all?
I do. There just
Mhm.
seems to be a certain rhythm, at least from what I feel when reading this, especially when trying to get all the descriptive words in there and kind of in a straight line. So I guess one example, everyone listened and everyone was listening, and then you kind of get into a rhythm of describing this creature. It just seems like it'll be a challenge to try to get that rhythm right so that it feels like it makes sense reading it. Does that make sense? I don't know.
Okay, so um, I think I know what you're talking about. You're talking about how quickly you should pace everything.
Right. Yeah. Because you don't want to. I would imagine you
Right.
wouldn't want to push
So
anything in. Yeah.
let's actually take that sentence as an example. Everyone listened and everyone was listening still. So for me, what would make sense there is it's talking about two separate things. Everyone listened is one thing, but listening becomes less important in the second half after the comma because um lumbered slobberingly into sight, gropingly squeezed, all of that, the rest of that stuff becomes important, right? So everyone listened. Because again, you're referring to Hawkins in the previous sentence, Hawkins who heard something way down there. So then everyone listened. and everyone was listening still, so they were still just kind of quiet, calm, and trying to pay attention to what was happening when it lumbered slobberingly into sight, when they saw this thing come out of the darkness and pull itself through the doorway, right? You move your attention from everyone listened to the horror of this creature.
I also noticed it is capitalized.
Right, right.
It is,
Oh, it is capitalized.
yeah, it
Okay.
described as. Sorry, I hope that helped
Yeah, no,
connecting
that's
that
good. That's good.
idea there.
Again, because no, that's actually really, really awesome to point out because that is the only description, that is the only reference that we have to this thing is a capitalized it. And
Mhm.
the thing of idols, green sticky spawn of the stars, right? Nothing is concrete, but it it being capitalized is also really cool there. But anyway, getting back to it, Mark. Um, I think what you really need to do is, and I've this is almost a universal thing. Slow it down and be in control of the situation. Just see what's going on and walk us through it. Feel the emotions. Because again, this is the most shocking moment. You've just opened up this door, you are hit with this horrendous smell. It's not included in here, but just prior to this, when opening it up, these basically like this black plume of smoke came out of the door and darkened the sky a little bit. Um, and then one of the guys is like, wait, I hear something in there. And everybody else stops and listens and is just kind of being quiet while they hear this thing suddenly materialize. They see this thing suddenly materialize. They didn't expect anything in there. And suddenly there's this massive horror that they just can't describe. So this requires you to take your time to like see the situation, see the scene that's going on around you.
Cool.
Did
Got
that
it.
help
Yeah.
out a little bit?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Anything else?
I think I'm thinking definitely about how this is being delivered. I don't know if we want to go into that or just make our choices without saying so, but where he is currently in this situation of who he's
Oh,
talking to,
oh,
why
the
is he
the
recounting
specific.
this, who's he recounting it for?
Got it. Got it. Those
Um,
specifics. Um, I'm going to
I,
say that that's going to be a personal choice thing.
yeah, okay.
I would assume. So if this was actually being cast for, I would assume that they would have, something on that.
Hmm.
Um, but I'm just going to say make your choice on that, and we'll go with it. If you can communicate it well, then it was the right choice.
Hmm. Cool.
All right. Last call for any concerns before we dive in. Cool. All right. Paul, I hope you don't mind. We're going to go ahead and slap you at the bottom of the list here. But cool. So let's get into it. Richard, you are up first whenever
All
you're
right.
ready.
I'm going to take your advice from last time and remove the cans, so I'm going to jump into it here. Sorry, this might block me. The odor arising from the newly opened depths was intolerable. And at length, the quick eared Hawkins thought he heard a nasty, slopping sound down there. Everyone listened, and everyone was listening still when it lumbered slobberingly into sight and gropingly squeezed its gelatinous green immensity through the black doorway into the tainted outside air of that poison city of madness. The thing, it cannot be described. There is no language for such abysms of shrieking and immemorial lunacy, such eldritch contradictions of all matter, force, and cosmic order. The thing of idols, the green, sticky spawn of the stars, had awakened to claim his own. The stars were right again. And what an age-old cult had failed to do by design, a band of innocent sailors had done by accident. After vigintillions of years, great Cthulhu was loose again and ravening for delight.
Okay. Now this is your guys' turn. What did you think of that read?
Not gonna lie, that kind of scared me.
All right.
When it was a first person view, I actually pictured like Richard in the like he's coming out onto the dock of a boat and he sees like I'm picturing him in the scene and he's like walking out and he sees Cthulhu. I'm like, oh my god, it scared me a bit.
It's a
So
very good
yeah,
compliment. Thank you.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
I agree. And you know what really would have made that settle in more? Because if this is for an audiobook from first person like this is your advantage to take your time and
I was gonna
slow
be
it
my
down.
first
Yes.
pick.
Yeah.
Because I know one thing about audiobooks, people want to understand what's being portrayed.
Right.
I don't want to just say read, portrayed, and whose point of view is coming from. And this time, unlike commercials or animation in general, audiobooks tend to lean on the slower pace side of things. And especially with these descriptors and the grave madness, take your time, let it settle in.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah, I was gonna say, as a purely character read, really, really solid. It sounded like you had just freshly experienced this, and were still kind of coming off of that traumatizing high from the situation while telling somebody about it. I don't know what situation it is that you specifically had in mind. The thing is I could tell you had a very clear choice of what you wanted to do as the character, and you stuck to that choice the entire way, which is a really solid thing to do. But yeah, much like what Paul said, slow it down. This is
Yeah.
an audiobook.
Yeah.
You want people to, yes, you want people to feel what it is that you're feeling, but you need to paint the picture for them. You need to let it flow and let things sink in.
Mm-hmm.
You have a captive audience. There's no
Mm-hmm.
reason to rush it.
Yeah. That's still that it feels like I'm going slow, but I realize I can go slower. I
Yep.
feel like I'm trying to keep the energy and not lose it, but I can settle in it.
I'm sorry,
That's
trying to keep
okay.
the what?
Trying to keep the energy of the
No.
The what?
I know, I know, I know, I know.
Mm-mm.
The feelings of what I'm going on, and I think
Okay. Okay.
I push that, and I can own it, and I think slowing it down helps me own it. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay.
I'm gonna keep that in mind.
Yeah. No, definitely. Again, this is your time to shine. So take your time with it. Pull. It's not necessarily just about what your character is thinking and feeling, but it is also about your audience's ability to get sucked into the same scene, to
Mm-hmm.
feel that as well. And silence and time is your best friend here. It is your best friend here. It's amazing how much that can really punctuate everything you're trying to say.
Yeah, I'm gonna focus on that for sure.
Awesome. So then
Silence is just as good.
headphones off again from
All
the
right.
top whenever you're ready.
Okay. The odor arising from the newly opened depths was intolerable. And at length, the quick-eared Hawkins thought he heard a nasty, slopping sound down there. Everyone listened, and everyone was listening still, when it lumbered slobberingly into sight and gropingly squeezed its gelatinous green immensity through the black doorway into the tainted outside air of that poison city of madness. The thing cannot be described. There is no language for such abysms of shrieking and immemorial lunacy, such eldritch contradictions of all matter, force, and cosmic order. The thing of the idols, the green, sticky spawn of the stars, had awakened to claim his own. The stars were right again. And what an age-old cult had failed to do by design, a band of innocent sailors had done by accident. After vigintillions of years, great Cthulhu was loose again and ravening for delight.
Okay, now that the headphones are on, what did you guys think of that one? Well, there you go. You stunned them.
The effectiveness of slowing it down, I think, really brought it home for me. Uh, just kind of putting myself in the shoes of a listener who's listening to this audiobook, it was super effective. Being able to really get my fingers into the words, and really feel that. I felt that. So, well done.
Thank you.
So tell me, what did it feel like for you to slow it down?
It at first it felt forced and I was a little bit scared of it. And then it was in that brief half a second of pausing. And then once that echoed out, I let it kind of ride. I went, okay, now I can pick it back up. I just took a breath. There was a few times where I had to kind of remind myself I could still slow down more, and I think that may have come through. But I'm glad to hear that the choices I made in slowing down were effective. So I'm going to try to make that more natural and and use that as a tool.
Yeah, it did. It really worked. It definitely helped us not only with being able to follow along specifically what it is you were saying, but it again, when you go through something that's so strong, so powerful, and so uh, like emotionally imprinting on, that imprints so strong emotionally onto your brain,
Hmm.
you take your time with it.
Hmm.
You have to struggle to sort of parse apart the feelings from the words and define them as well as you can.
Yeah.
So, um, yeah, it's okay to take your time. It's okay to let there be silence. In fact, I feel that knowing when to use that comes from more experience with just using it, right? Just let there be silence here or there. And you'll start seeing that, oh wait, it kind of makes more sense here or there. And sometimes the longer it goes, that little bit of awkwardness kind of helps add to the tension of the situation.
Hmm. Hmm. I think I've been taking some film classes to help with my acting, and
Mhm.
um, speaking from the heart was really something they drove home of what your intentions, what you're feeling, and I think that's exactly where that silence can be used. Like you're, sorry, I'm just connecting that thought to what you said. Of I experienced this, and this is a warning, so I want you to understand the full gravity of the situation. So I want that to sink into you. I
Yes.
want to affect you, even as
Yes.
the character, and then obviously on top of that, the audience as well. But yeah, that's
But
where that silence can come in handy.
absolutely. And there's the thing. This is why you go to practices to tie in the things that you learn into
Yeah,
actual experience.
yeah. Yeah, awesome. Right on. Was there anything else I could have done? Anything that came through that wasn't
So
as
I
clear?
think so again, adding in the silence this time, it seemed like you were a little uncomfortable with it. But now that you've had an experience with it, I want you to just do the script again and feel that silence. Feel what your character's feeling in those gaps
Okay. Yeah.
for
Would I?
yourself.
Okay. Okay.
No, no, no. What
Yeah.
were you gonna ask? What were you gonna ask?
I was gonna say, do we want to keep going through everybody else and then come back, or we'll just do
No,
this?
go
I'll
for it.
get everything out of the way.
Yeah, just go for it.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna take a second here to mulch on it really quickly, but I'll jump into it. The odor arising from the newly opened depths was intolerable. And at length, the quick-eared Hawkins thought he heard a nasty, slopping sound down there. Everyone listened, and everyone was listening still when it lumbered slobberingly into sight. and gropingly squeezed its gelatinous green immensity through the black doorway into the tainted outside air of that poisoned city of madness. The thing cannot be described. There is no language for such abysms of shrieking and immemorial lunacy, such eldritch contradictions of all matter, force, and cosmic order. The thing of the idols, the green, sticky spawn of the stars, had awakened to claim his own. The stars were right again, and what an age-old cult had failed to do by design, a band of innocent sailors had done by accident. After vigintillions of years, great Cthulhu was loose again, and he was ravening for delight.
All right, let's hear it, people. What were you thinking? Or what do you think?
About the only notes I have would be technical things.
Okay.
Just words misread or things added in with an audiobook. You really want to make sure you don't deviate from the text at all.
Right. Was
Um,
there a word I had mispronounced? I thought I was pretty on point.
awaked. Uh,
Awake.
all of your takes, you had said awakened, which is, I mean, nobody says awaked anymore, so that's
Gotcha.
totally understandable.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
and then the very last line,
Wait.
Cthulhu was loose again, and he was ravening for
Yes,
delight.
I
You
did.
added
Yeah.
that in.
I,
So
I
that's
felt I
just
felt it in
something, I
the
mean,
characters, but yeah, I totally get what you mean.
as far as, like, for practice, I mean, that's, that's fine,
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but
But audiobook.
definitely if you're gonna go for audiobooks, you definitely wanna stick with the text, unless there's obvious misspellings and things, you can talk to
Right.
the author about that, but,
Yeah.
um,
Totally good. Yeah. Awake.
yeah.
Definitely. That was
Although
awakened in my head.
I will say that it would be really difficult to speak to the author now on
Well,
this
yeah,
one
yeah,
if
yeah,
you had
yeah.
any
Yeah, a little bit.
questions.
It's a little too
Hey,
late for
HP,
that, yeah.
what do you feel about this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, yeah.
I'm just
Again,
saying in general.
Yeah.
did
Good point.
did adding in the slowdown, adding in those those pauses and that silence, did that feel more natural to you this time?
It did. Yeah.
Okay.
It felt like a little bit closer to I knew what I was saying and I knew why I was saying it. And
And yeah, that is 100% how it sounded.
yeah, I think I could still play with the ideas of how it affected me, but definitely, um, I think I got a better grasp of how I was communicating it.
See, I'd be really careful of that mindset because that will very quickly lead you into a lot of self judgment. Um,
Oh,
but
yeah, I
even
meant as the character, as how it affected the character.
okay,
Just trying to
well,
get touch into, yeah.
yeah. But the thing is your first gut instincts, what you did, is
Mhm.
probably going to be your best take.
Mm.
I don't know if you've ever had this happen before, but have you worked on a lot of auditions?
Yeah, oh yeah.
How many times have you worked on an audition for an extended period of time and just went with one of your first few takes?
I actually, funny story. There was 2 auditions on the same project. One, I kind of did really fast,
Hmm.
made a choice, threw it, wasn't care. The other one, I spent a lot of time on. Well, I got the other one, I threw
Y-
in
You got the
quickly.
first one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, it's because so the reason being is that the more you try to break things down, and the more you try to think about it, the less natural it is.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
there's a balance. There's a balance between taking your time with something. Again, you want to read through it, you want to get a feel of it, you want to get an impression of it, and then you want to sort of just amplify those impressions.
Mm,
And that's
mhm,
going to be that's probably going to be your better audition.
mhm.
I've rarely ever seen it where somebody takes a bunch of time on an audition and actually comes out with a better product at the end of
Yeah.
it.
'Cause
It's
at the end,
it's
then you're
very
just
rare.
thinking in your head, and you're acting from your head and not your heart.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. You're just breaking it down more and more and more. It's like, wait,
yeah,
no, that didn't sound quite right.
yeah,
And then you start violating the Dan rule over and over again. Nothing then sounds right afterwards.
yeah.
And when listening to it back, listening back to it, you realize that you're like within your first three takes, you actually had one that you would feel more comfortable sending off.
Mhm. Right on. Yeah.
It's just the reality of things.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally get what you're saying. Yeah.
So I'm gonna post a YouTube link in the chat here. That's actually there's a brief section. It's only a couple of seconds of some of this sushi chef cleaning an octopus, and you'll hear it. He's talking over it a little bit, but you'll hear the sloshing and the slopping and the horrible sound in the background. That's what I was referring to.
Yeah. It's horrible.
Yeah, yeah.
No
You
thanks.
see, it's not great. All right, moving right
I
along.
know.
Josh,
Thanks,
you
guys.
are up.
Alrighty then. The odor arising from the newly opened depths was intolerable, and at length the quick-eared Hawkins thought he heard a nasty, slopping sound down there. Everyone listened, and everyone was listening still when it lumbered slobberingly into sight and gropingly squeezed its gelatinous green immensely through the black doorway into the tainted outside air, that poisoned city of madness. The thing cannot be described. There is no language for such abysms of shrieking and immemorable lunacy. Such eldritch contradictions of all matter force and cosmic horror. The thing of idols, the green, sticky spawn of the stars, had awakened to claim his own. The stars were right again, and what an age-old cult had failed to do by design, a band of innocent sailors had done by accident. After vigintillions of years, great Cthulhu was loose again, and ravening for delight.
All right, opening it up. What did y'all think?
You were a bit stiff going into it, but then you kind of relaxed into like half the second and beginning of the third paragraph. So I need you to just loosen up a bit and just kind of flow into it.
Okay.
Yeah. Same sentiment. You started to take more pauses, and I heard it. It started to sink a little bit better in the second half, and yeah, same what BBJ said.
Okay. All right. I'll go at it again, or does anyone
Absolutely.
else have a feedback?
Yeah, I wanted to add one more thing. And this may have been part of it too. The first half, it was, even though this is, you are the character of this person that went through this, um, it sounded like you were putting on a character voice, like you were adding gruffness, and it didn't sound natural. And then about halfway through, when you started to slow down, it sounded more like you had been through this experience. It was more your own voice, and it went almost into like a whispery tone, which I think for your voice really fit this text a lot better than adding that, the odor outside, that little bit of throat gruffness.
Yeah.
Because and maybe that's just because that's the we hear you talk in your normal tone, and that's not there. And then, hearing it on here, it sounds like you're just doing a voice.
Okay.
Um, but once you lost that and you went into like that last paragraph where it was more just that the thing of the idols, it was, you lost the gruff, that throat rattle, whatever it was. It sounded a lot better.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna take a page from Richard's book and take off my headset and see if that could help a bit.
For sure.
Okay.
From the
I
top,
hope you
whenever
don't
you're
mind,
ready.
Richard.
Oh, it's Michael's idea, not mine. Nothing's original.
Okay, let me ask that question instead. Michael, you don't mind, do you?
Okay, haven't I told you to stop asking for permission and just start doing things?
God damn.
Just go for it. Don't
If I
ask
do
me
that
if
one
it's
more
okay.
time, make it a roll instead. If I
Okay,
do it one more time.
yeah, just do something. Like this is why you come to practice. You don't come to practice to ask for permission to try something. You come to practice to try something, to see if it works for you. And if it does, cool, keep doing it. And if it doesn't, you've messed up here and not in an actual session with a paid client.
Okay.
So do it. Take off your headset. Do whatever you want to. Just try it. Just try something.
All right. Okay, hold on a second. Okay, I have my headset off. The odor arising from the newly opened depths was intolerable. And at length the quick-eared Hawkins thought he heard a nasty, slopping sound down there. Everyone listened, and everyone was listening still when it lumbered slobberingly into sight and gropingly squeezed its gelatinous green immensity through the black doorway into the tainted outside air of that poisoned city of madness. The thing cannot be described. There is no language for such abysms of shrieking and immemorable lunacy, such eldritch contradictions of all matter, force, and cosmic order. The thing of idols, the green, sticky spawn of the stars, had awakened to claim his own. The stars were right again, and what an age-old cult has failed to do by design, a band of innocent sailors had done by accident. After vigintillions of years, great Cthulhu was loose again and ravening for delights.
All right. Headphone back on? Or headphones on? Headphone? Can you even wear a singular headphone?
All right, I have it back on.
Yes, yes, you can.
That's how you do it.
Anyway,
I can't hear nothing, boss.
yeah. How do you use these again?
Oh no, you're upside down.
Wait, yeah, Australian version.
Yeah.
There we go.
He puts them on his butt.
Anyways,
Wear him like Cyclops instead
yeah.
from the X-Men. There we go.
All right. So, let's go for it. What did you all think of that read?
Quick question. What did you decide what character you were? Are you recounting this or are you reciting this from memory? Are you recounting the story or are you reporting it? I wasn't here for the analysis. What did y'all decide?
So we generally decided that this is a recounting of this character's experience.
So they were in it. They were
Yes,
in the
they
thick
were
of it.
there. They saw it, they smelled it, they felt it, everything.
Okay.
Mhm. I think.
So, is there any feedback?
Gotta let people process, man. Come on.
Yeah.
I think you can go bigger into it. Just get a little bit more invested into it because you veered out of an invested character and into just a touch of an omniscient type guy, which confused me, and which is why I asked the question.
Mm,
Mhm. Yeah, I think there was how do I say this? I think you can. I didn't quite feel why, what sort of horrors this person had experienced, um, and I think there was places you were putting emphasis on, but I'm not sure if you knew why you were putting the emphasis on. Um, so I think maybe thinking about what sort of words he's using, why those are important to him, um, could help. I'm not too sure exactly where I'm going with that, but
okay.
for my specific instance is in the first paragraph. You said it's gelatinous green immensity through the black doorway, and you emphasized black. So I'm just curious why you emphasized the black doorway. why that was important to the character.
I actually didn't notice I emphasized it, so to be honest, I
No
didn't
worries.
know if I did that.
That's what I heard. And I think that, yeah, feeling maybe getting a bit more in touch into what this person has gone through could help guide
Okay.
that. Um,
Okay, I'm going to take a second and see if I could picture a scene that would fit a bit. I'm going to take a little bit. Okay. Okay. The odor arising from the newly opened depths was intolerable, and at length the quick-eared Hawkins thought he heard a nasty, slopping sound down there. Everyone listened, and everyone was listening still when it lumbered slobberingly into sight and gropingly squeezed its gelatinous green immensity through the black doorway into the tainted outside air of that poison city of madness. The thing cannot be described. There is no language for such abysms of shrieking and immemorable lunacy. Such eldritch contradictions of all matter, force, and cosmic order. The thing of idols, the green, sticky spawn of the stars, had awakened to claim his own. The stars were right again, and what an age old coal had failed to do by design, a band of innocent sailors have done by accident. After vintillions of years, great Cthulhu was loose again and ravening for its delight.
All right, Josh, can you hear us? Do you have your
Yeah,
headphones on? Okay. Um, you're still adding in words. You're ad libbing.
yeah,
For instance, and ravening for its delight.
yeah.
And you said immemorable versus immemorial.
All right.
Um, Minor things ultimately, but since this is an audiobook, you will be asked to retake those to make sure
Yeah.
that you stick to the text. Um, Ultimately, though, uh, you were really strong on the first portion and the last portion, but that middle section still seems like it's kind of eluding you a little bit.
How so?
Well, first off, you split the ideas. What I mean by that is you treated that comma after immemorial lunacy as a period.
Oh,
Because again, what your character is doing is they're grasping for some way to describe the indescribable. They're looking for words to try and put some kind of description to something they genuinely cannot describe.
okay.
So that's why your character starts with the thing cannot be described, right? Like you're putting out there the fact that this is so horrific that words just can't do it, and you're trying so hard. There is no language for such abysms of shrieking and immemorial lunacy, such eldritch contradictions of all matter, force, and cosmic order, right? Like you're trying to drive the point home with that sentence that this is something that you would have to experience to understand, and you should never experience it.
Okay.
So your character is grasping to try to put some kind of context to this thing.
Okay.
And I didn't hear that. I
All
don't
right.
know what idea you had for that second sentence, but that's what you should be trying to go for.
All right. All right. I'll do it again.
Well, before you do,
Oh,
does anybody else have anything they'd like to say?
um, in the I'm still always scared for giving feedback just because I don't want to add
No,
on
just
too
give it.
much.
Just give it.
I- I have a question for you, Josh. Um, what do you wh- what did you feel when you were going through it, when you were reading through the text?
Well, I did what Michael suggested earlier, kind of bring out a traumatic event.
Hmm.
And what I chose for a traumatic event is breaking a bone, basically.
Okay.
So I got that feeling of like shock and all that and tried to apply that
Hmm.
to a scene that I had in my mind.
Okay. Yeah,
So,
I don't think that's a bad thing to do. I think maybe I think m- that makes sense for why you read it this way because this feels the text I feel like is a bit more dreamlike and less specific.
mm,
And I think that's a good thing to apply a real life situation, but Breaking Bone I feel like is so specific and like describable.
yeah.
Um, my point I was going to say was that this text I feel is very dreamlike. It's like trying you ever try to tell somebody your dream and you're like this person was there and it was somebody but they weren't actually that person. They were just like a, you know, an effigy of somebody else and my
Yeah.
brain
Huh.
knew it, but you know, and it's like those sorts of things. You're trying to make sense of something that just nobody can really relate to. Um, I think um, maybe take that into consideration or into mind. I think when you go into this next read of
The
it's
scene
like a
I
dream
chose,
almost.
the scene I chose to apply the voice to is like a the classic, not the character I'm voicing, but like picture like a what's the word? Uh, what was the word? I forgot. Uh, I can't remember the word. It slipped my mind. No,
There was a character you were going
uh,
for?
no, like something similar. It's like a guy wearing like a raincoat and hook for a hand, that
Mm.
kind of thing.
Oh,
The stereotypical. There you go. That's it.
Ah,
There you
got it.
go.
Got
That's
it.
the word.
Stereotypical
Uh,
pirate
yeah, and he's
merchantman.
like, yeah, and they're like
okay.
sitting, and he's like the only person left from his crew from encountering Cthulhu, and he's like around a campfire with other adventurers or that kind of thing. That's
Gotcha.
what I was going for. Kind of
Okay.
like giving a warning, like, hey, I saw this thing and I can't even describe how horrible it looks and how gross it
Okay.
feels to look at, that kind of thing. That's
Gotcha.
what I was trying to go for.
Gotcha.
Hmm. Okay, I want you to try this next one with a completely different character.
Okay.
You are a researcher at a university. You study ancient history, so you've seen all these old texts and stuff like that. Um, and your your uncle in the story passed away and left you this box that looked ancient, looked like it was right within your um, your wheelhouse, what you study normally. So this should be comfortable. But then you discover this. And you've been to hundreds of ruins before. There's never anything there. Maybe the occasional animal, right? Usually bugs. Bugs are no big deal. But this is wholly unfathomable to you. This has never, ever happened before and probably will never happen to anyone ever again.
Okay.
Let's just see what that does
Okay.
from the beginning.
The odor arising from the newly opened depths was intolerable, and at length the quick-eared Hawkins thought he heard a nasty, slopping sound down there. Everyone listened, and everyone was listening still when he and everyone was listening still when it lumbered slobberingly into sight and gropingly squeezed its gelatinous green immensity through the black doorway into the tainted outside air of that poison city of madness. The thing cannot be described. There is no language from such isms of shrieking and immemorial lunacy. Such eldritch contradictions of matter, force, and cosmic order. The thing of idols, The green, sticky spawn of the stars had awakened to claim his own. The stars were right again, and what an age old cult had failed to do by design, a band of innocent sailors had done by accident. After vigintillions of years, great Cthulhu was loose again and ravening for delight.
Okay. What'd y'all think of that one?
It's definitely it's on a good track. I think you've definitely put some, like, I can hear the no, new choices you've made. To an extent, I think you can still go farther with it. Um, but definitely an improvement, definitely from the first read, and I think even from the last one.
Yeah. Yeah, I think again, when it comes to something like this, you want to make sure that you're making as solid and clear a choice as you possibly can. And it sounded like, it was becoming much more clear to you specifically what it was you were going for.
Yeah.
Um, although I think for time's sake, we should go ahead and move on, but we can work on this again soon if you'd like.
Yeah, I think on my off time, probably later today, I'll pull it back up and try it again.
Sounds good. Sounds good. But yeah, let's go ahead and move it right along over to Mark.
Okay, just give me 1 second. Get ready.
No problem. Whenever you're ready, go for it.
The odor arising from the newly opened depths was intolerable, and at length the quick eared Hawkins thought he heard a nasty, slopping sound down there. Everyone listened, and everyone was listening still when it lumbered slobberingly into sight and gropingly squeezed its gelatinous green immensity through the black doorway into the tainted outside air of that poisoned city of madness. The thing cannot be described. There is no language for such abysms of shrieking and immemorial lunacy, such eldritch contradictions of all matter, force, and cosmic order. The thing of idols, the green, sticky spawn of the stars, had awakened to claim its own. The stars were right again, and when an age old cult had failed to do by design, a band of innocent sailors had done by accident. After vigintillions of years, the great Cthulhu was loose again and ravening for delight.
Okay. So, very technically clean, a very technically good read. I didn't get much emotional investment out of it. You have the right pacing, you have really good enunciation. It was very easy to follow along with what you were saying, but I didn't get much personal investment from how your character was feeling.
Gotcha.
So, what were you envisioning? What is your character? What is the situation?
Uh, well, I will have to admit there are little nerves just on my end
Okay. Okay.
for reading
No,
this
and
for
that's
sure.
fine.
So I just gotta.
That's fine. That is perfectly okay to admit. Like it's not a. There's no wrong answer here. I just want to
Mm,
know what's going on in your mind.
yeah.
Okay, so
Uh,
you're feeling nervous. Okay.
yeah, for sure. But I'd imagine this is just putting myself in this guy. Someone maybe I'm just telling the story to, and the idea of like this is what I experienced. This is something I want to warn you about, or just kind of casually telling a story to a, an audience of sorts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, first off,
Mhm.
uh, from what I heard, very generic.
Okay.
Your description. Again, I'm just telling you. I'm not
Yeah.
making
No.
a
No. By all
value
means.
judgment or
Yeah.
anything on it. Very generic decision making. Um, I'd like for you to get really specific with that.
Okay.
What is your character thinking? What are they feeling when they experience this? How deep did it affect them? Like, think about your own life. I'm not going to ask you to describe it, obviously. Just give me a yes or no answer to this. But have you ever experienced something that you felt, okay, everything is different after this point?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. That's the same gravitas you need to give this experience. That is how monumental of a shift this is. So, this particular scene has affected your character so much that their life cannot ever be the same afterwards. It can't. That's what I want you to focus on. Lean into that feeling that nothing will ever be the same after witnessing the sheer mind numbing horror I just saw.
Okay.
That's my feedback to you, is be really clear on the emotions you're trying to go for.
Okay.
Are you talking about when we got married?
Yes, sure. Sheer mind numbing horror of getting married.
Knew it.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, if I may add, exactly what Michael said.
Okay.
And I also would encourage you to embrace those nerves. I
Okay.
could hear the shaky voice, and I loved it.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
loved the nerves in behind because it's definitely a nerve-wracking experience the character's going through. Um, I say just feel it, own it, and we're here for you. That's it.
Anybody else? Okay. From the top, Mark. Take
All
your time
right.
with it.
Here we
Lean
go.
into the nerves if you're feeling it. Bring that
Okay.
out. That's totally okay.
Okay. The odor arising from the newly opened depths was intolerable, and at length the quick-eared Hawkins thought he heard a nasty, slopping sound from down there. Everyone listened, and everyone was listening still when it lumbered slobberingly into sight and gropingly squeezed its gelatinous green immensity through the black doorway into the tainted outside air of that poisoned city of madness. The thing cannot be described. There is no language for such abysms of shrieking and immemorial lunacy, such eldritch contradictions of all matter, force, and cosmic order. The thing of idols, the green, sticky spawn of the stars, had awakened to claim its own. The stars were right again, and what an age old cult had failed to do by design, a band of innocent sailors had done by accident. After vigintillions of years, the great Cthulhu was loose again and was ravening for delight.
Just retake that last sentence.
Sure.
The thing of idols.
Okay. The thing of idols, the green, sticky spawn of the stars, had awakened to claim its own. The stars were right again, and what an age-old cult had failed to do by design, a band of innocent sailors had done by accident. After vigintillions of years, the great Cthulhu was loose again and ravening for delight.
Okay, opening it up. What did y'all think of that one?
Much better from the first read. There was a lot more emotion in this one. I could
Okay.
feel. I think it could still go more.
Sure.
Definitely go more. But definitely in a good spot. A good step up from the last one for sure.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree with Richard. Definitely heading in the right direction. One thing I did notice, and it might just be nerves still. You got into a bit of a vocal pattern where it seemed like every time you were emphasizing a word, it went to the same pitch,
Okay.
and then you would settle into the same lower pitch, and
Okay.
then you'd emphasize the next word, and you'd hit that same pitch, and then so it was, if we were to
Yeah.
graph this, you'd be down
Yeah.
here,
Yeah.
and then to go up here, and down here, and up here, and it was very, the pitch itself was predictable, not
Okay.
necessarily the rhythm, of what you were emphasizing. Um, but it was, you seemed to hit the same two notes, and there wasn't really a whole lot in between.
Okay.
And again, that could have just been nerves. That's something that'll kind of smooth out over time.
Okay.
Mhm. I have a bit more of a specific feedback, but might
Sure.
help extrapolate to other things. In that first sentence, just when you said down there, I I didn't feel like there was a down there.
Okay.
I wasn't too sure what you were picturing. I knew I wanted to picture something. My mind wanted to formulate and feel, but I couldn't quite feel what exactly you were seeing.
Sure.
Um, so I think that's the step where you could go further and
Okay.
really feel um, all the little things.
Mark,
Yeah.
what was your character and what were they feeling this time around?
There was, I definitely gave into the nervousness of this character kind of retelling this story. Just being shaken. I think with that read, I was doing my best to really show the story of like how shook they were, how nervous this character was of seeing this, and how this touches them just retelling the story again, and how nervous this makes them again. So I think that's what I was aiming for.
Okay. So I want you to do something a little different this time
Sure.
around when
Okay.
describing your character. To say I or me, put yourself in their shoes.
Okay.
All right, Josh, thanks for being here. Take it easy, man. Yeah, no, don't see this separate. You are
Okay.
this character. You are this
Okay.
person.
Gotcha.
So, tell me about your character. What are they feeling? Tell me about you. What are you feeling in this?
All right. I am feeling the nervousness of telling this story and recounting the trauma and just the immense shock of having this experience. Trying to get into words what I felt, and this is as close as I can get.
Great. From the top.
All right, here we go. The odor arising from the newly opened depths was intolerable, and at length the quick-eared Hawkins thought he heard a nasty, slopping sound from down there. Everyone listened, and everyone was listening still when it lumbered slobberingly into the sight and gropingly squeezed its gelatinous green immensity through the black doorway into the tainted outside air of that poisoned city of madness. The, the thing cannot be described. There is no language for such abysms of shrieking and immoral lunacy, such eldritch contradictions of all matter, force, and cosmic order. The thing of idols, the green, sticky spawn of the stars, had awakened to claim its own. The stars were right again, and when an age old cult had failed to do by design, a band of innocent sailors had done by accident. After vigintillions of years, the great Cthulhu was loose again and ravening for delight.
Okay. Opening it up. Thoughts?
I think this one was a bit mixed for me. It was
Sure.
improvements in some places and not in others. I
Okay.
think what I really liked, where I felt most connected to you was the real stuff. The
Okay.
when it was talking about like material, like more graspable things.
Okay.
When it went to the extraneous and crazy, I didn't quite feel that as much.
Sure. Okay.
Um, so I think great placement and what like base level. It could still just go farther.
Sure. Kind of go. Yep. Yep.
Anyone else? Any other thoughts?
Yeah, what am I on?
Yeah, we can
Yeah.
hear you.
Okay. Oh, yeah, you kind of veered into the realm of narrator as a
Okay.
detached narrator
Okay.
and
Okay.
not someone who is, as we've wanted to say, that they've lived it.
Gotcha.
Okay. So let's see. It seems like you are starting to really grasp communicating the stuff that's more down to earth and more direct,
Hmm.
um, or more realistic towards our world. But this major crazy thing still feels like it's difficult for you to really react to. Um, have you ever seen something in your life that you felt just there was no way that you could describe it?
I'm gonna say no
Okay,
off the top of
okay.
my head.
So you've never like seen, I don't know, like ghost videos or anything like that that just kind of like, oh, how would they even set that up? You know, just some kind of, or maybe like a
uh,
magic trick that just totally blew your mind.
okay. I have. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, okay. That's the kind of idea that we're going for. It's like,
Okay.
how do you even describe it? Like, you know that there should be some logical description to it. It's you can't quite get there,
Okay.
right? Like, somebody was doing a card trick. Maybe they palmed a card and we just couldn't see it. I have no idea, right?
Right.
Somehow this thing that was only ever spoken of in legends, and let's face it, somebody who's like done all this kinds of research has probably heard of beings like, Quetzalcoatl and all and Gilgamesh and all these other crazy mythological figures and creatures and beings, but now you're seeing one.
Okay.
So the thing is I'm comfortable with your read for the first paragraph. I think you're
Okay.
doing a fine job with that, and I
Okay.
don't think we really need to rehash that one. I'd like for you to just do second and third.
Second and third. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go. Here we go. The thing cannot be described. There is no language for such abysms of shrieking and immemorial lunacy, such eldritch contradictions of all matter, force, and cosmic order. The thing of idols, the green, sticky spawn of the stars, had awakened to claim its own. The stars were right again, and what an age old cult had failed to do by design, a band of innocent sailors had done by accident. After vigintillions of years, the great Cthulhu was loose again and ravening for delight.
Okay. During the highlighted, or during the key portion at the very last sentence, you are really you're really blasting through it.
Okay,
And that's where you really need to slow down.
sure.
So why are you saying um, the stars were right again, and what an age-old cult failed to do by design, a band of innocent sailors had done by accident? That is the irony of the thing. Like,
Okay,
there were
gotcha.
hundreds of years where there was this cult that was trying to do what you and your stupid, unknowing band of sailors had just done, completely by stumbling into it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Like, it just happened, and it's so stupid that it did. The stars were right again. You knew that this was a cosmic alignment that made this happen, essentially.
Okay.
And the rest is kind of laughable. And what an age-old cult had failed to do by design, a band of innocent sailors had
Mm,
done by accident.
okay. Okay. That definitely puts it the gravity of that. I think that was.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So this is where really slowing down and
Okay.
chewing on those words and those meanings is really going to make a huge, huge difference. Um, Also, it's Great Cthulhu and not the Great Cthulhu.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Gotcha.
And again, Vigintillions is not a word anybody ever really uses,
Okay.
right? Like, Vigintillions is I don't think I've ever seen anybody legitimately use that number until just now, until reading this section. So, that being said, this should be something that you are really grasping for
Okay.
after vigintillions of years, right? Like, um, have you ever seen Carl Sagan speak?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah. It is. Yep. Yep.
billions and billions,
Mm-hmm.
millions,
Mm-hmm.
trillions, billions, right? Like he hits those really, really hard
Okay.
because it's such a huge, huge word, and vigintillions is even bigger than all of those. So it really needs that sort of gravity to it,
Okay.
right? Take your time, slow it down. Just give me that
Okay.
last sentence, that last paragraph one more time, and
All
we'll
right.
move on.
Okay. So here we go. The thing of idols, the green, sticky spawn of the stars, had awakened to claim its own. The stars were right again, and what an age old cult had failed to do by design, a band of innocent sailors had done by accident. After vigintillions of years, the great Cthulhu was loose again and ravening for delight.
Okay, definitely some improvements there. Practice, practice,
I'm
practice,
gonna
though.
practice this one. Yeah,
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 absolutely. Yep, yep.
yeah. Still, though, I think you showed some really marked improvements with decision making here, and I hope by the end of it you weren't feeling quite as nervous as you were at the beginning.
Yeah, I'm feeling a little better now. It definitely
Yeah,
took me some time to get
yeah. The
into
more
it.
you do it, the less nervous you feel in
Okay.
general, right?
Mhm.
All right. Well, then let's go ahead and move it right along. It is now my turn.
Alrighty.
The odor arising from the newly opened depths was intolerable, and at length the quick-eared Hawkins thought he heard a nasty, slopping sound down there. Everyone listened, and everyone was listening still when it lumbered slobberingly into sight and gropingly squeezed its gelatinous green immensity through the black doorway into the tainted outside air of that poisoned city of madness. The thing cannot be described. There is no language for such abysms of shrieking and immemorial lunacy, such eldritch contradictions of all matter, force, and cosmic order. The thing of the idols, the green, sticky spawn of the stars, had awakened to claim his own. The stars were right again, and what an age old cult had failed to do by design, a band of innocent sailors had done by accident. After vigintillions of years, great Cthulhu was loose again and ravening for delight. All right, opening it up.
Did this experience beat you down?
Yes, it did. This was nearly mind shattering to see.
I'm not hearing it.
You're not? Okay.
No.
Okay.
Hmm.
I
You
think
got
the,
something there. I
the
know you do.
I think the point of slowing it down was really emphasized here, and it shows, at least for me, like slowing things down can really make it effective. And your read was effective, super effective. Just kind of, I felt the gravity of this. So hats off
I
to you, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, it was. I think it was a very good read. The first part was very powerful and evocative. Um, I think it did kind of lose it for me as it went on.
Okay.
I started to wonder who you were talking to, and I had a hard time picturing it. Why you were recounting it. Um, I definitely felt like you had been there, but I wasn't too sure why. Um, why you were saying it again.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
I think uh, I think maybe this is more specific as well. don't want to tell you how to read it. I think the capital it can still be um, I don't know. Thought
Given
apart.
something.
Given some weight. I don't know.
Okay.
I think
Okay.
that would help in a way, but yeah. That's it.
Okay. Okay. All right. Let me see if I can give it more context and more feel. The odor arising from the newly opened depths was intolerable, and at length the quick-eared Hawkins thought he heard a nasty, slopping sound down there. Everyone listened, and everyone was listening still when it lumbered slobberingly into sight and gropingly squeezed its gelatinous green immensity through the black doorway into the tainted outside air of that poison city of madness. The thing cannot be described. There is no language for such abysms of shrieking and immemorial lunacy, such eldritch contradictions of all matter, force, and cosmic order. The thing of the idols, the green, sticky spawn of the stars, had awakened to claim his own. The stars were right again, and what an age-old cult had failed to do by design, a band of innocent sailors had done by accident. After vigintillions of years, great Cthulhu was loose again, and ravening for delight. Awaked. Okay, awaked.
It's awaked, not awake. No, just kidding. That's
Awaked. Okay.
awaked.
Yeah, awaked.
That's a weird one. I liked it.
Yeah, this
It
one
drew me.
was much better.
Yeah,
Okay.
it drew me in, and then it pulled me up, and then yeah, I felt the fear. I was kind of scared about what you were going to say next, even though I knew what was on the page.
Well,
But
that's the goal.
yeah, that was really good.
Okay, so it did answer the questions of what it did to me and whatnot, right?
Yeah,
Jim?
yeah.
Too, as well? Anybody?
Mhm.
Okay, well, cool. As long as it got there and as long as it hit the goal, that's what matters. All right.
Yeah.
James, you are up.
The odor arising from the newly opened depths was intolerable, and at length the quick-eared Hawkins thought he heard a nasty, slopping sound down there. Everyone listened. Everyone was listening still when it lumbered slobberingly into sight and gropingly squeezed its gelatinous green immensity through the black doorway into a tainted outside air that poison city of madness. The thing cannot be described. There's no language for such abysms of shrieking and immemorial lunacy, such eldritch contradictions of all matter, force, and cosmic order. The thing of the idols, the green, sticky spawn of the stars, had awaked to claim its own. The stars were right again. And what an age-old cult had failed to do by design, a band of innocent sailors had done by accident. After vigintillions of years, great Cthulhu was loose again and ravening for delight.
Well, you got awaked properly. That was something that I certainly missed.
I saw you laugh at that. I was
But yeah, opening it up, what did you all think of that read?
that was very good.
She say
Out of-
so sad.
Yeah, it's so sad.
So
You
sad.
said it's so sad.
Yeah, definitely lots of like it. I felt like it was the weight of the situation was there, and your character was just kind of at this numb acceptance of it all. This just we released a god, and that's there's nothing I can say that's going to fix that. It's just that's how it is now. That was the kind of what I got from it.
Did anybody else? Because again, you got some feedback about sounding sad. I'm just wondering if anybody else here. Did any of you get that impression that James was more sad than he was shaken or broken?
I think so. Yeah.
I
Got
would say
defeated.
so, yeah.
Okay,
Mm.
sad,
Defeated,
defeated.
yeah.
I agree.
Okay, okay.
Hopeless.
So let's see. What would cause that? So in my estimation, I think what I heard from you that might have brought that up is both um, voice strain going higher up in your registry and voice shakiness. And when you add the two of those together, it kind of sounds like you're sad, right? When one or the other, though, I think would really help with that. So without the shakiness, the voice strain, really trying to come up with something or trying to be steady and letting the voice shake a little bit in your own neutral tone adds a little bit more to I'm trying to hold things together. So both of those could work separately, but together it sounds like you're on the verge of tears. So one or the other, try to maintain like a tone and let your voice shake. That could also give you some character moments where you stop, swallow, just try to swallow that down and steady yourself and keep going, right? Like that could give you something to work with there. But both of those combined, I don't think would really communicate what you're going for. That's it. I like the decisions that you made. Um, and I don't necessarily have any notes on that specifically, but let's just change how you are expressing that inner shaken core from both voice strain and voice, I guess, vibrato to one or the other.
Anything else? Okay. The odor arising from the newly opened depths was intolerable, and at length the quick-eared Hawkins thought he heard a nasty flopping sound down there. Everyone listened, and everyone was listening still when it lumbered slobberingly into sight and gropingly squeezed its gelatinous green immensity through the black doorway into the tainted outside air of that poisoned city of madness. The thing it cannot be described. There's no language for such abysms of shrieking and immemorial lunacy, such eldritch contradictions of all matter, force, and cosmic order. The thing of idols, the green, sticky spawn of the stars, had awakened to claim its own. The stars were right again. What an age-old cult had failed to do by design, a band of innocent sailors had done by accident. After vigintillions of years, great Cthulhu was loose again and ravening for delight.
I really liked this one for one specific reason, and that is that I heard a setting. You pulled me in enough, and you stuck with your decisions enough that it allowed me to really paint a setting in my mind of what it is you were doing. I personally saw you speaking to somebody in uh like uh I don't know, like a room in a ship that's just candlelit, and it's just you and them trying to be quiet because you don't want to freak anybody else out on the ship, right? Like that's what I saw from your read. Is that what you're going for? I don't know, but it doesn't really matter because you painted an image in my mind. And sticking with that decision, I think, was really a strength to your read. So, um, not using both the vibrato and the vocal strain really helped you sell your emotional state in this one to me. I'm going to open it up. What did you all think of that?
I keep hearing awakened.
Oh, did I say it? God darn it.
Yes.
Ah,
I keep hearing an awakened,
so
and I
easy
don't
to
catch it
do.
because I think it should be there until I look
Yeah.
at the text and it says awaked.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Dang.
I was going
I
to
got
say
it the
something
first
about that.
time.
I was going to say something about that, but here's the thing: your mind was clearly more on the decisions you were making, and I felt that that was working for you better because you made that solid choice. I think now, if you go back and you just redo that and add in awaked, it would be much easier. I think that would be a much easier take. I really wanted to hear your change of attitude and mindset, and that is what I got from your read.
Mm-hmm.
So, to make Jay happy, why don't we take that last one?
All right.
Just the last sentence and go ahead and add in awaked.
The sentence or the whole paragraph?
Sorry, the
just that?
paragraph, the final
okay.
paragraph from the thing of idols, thing of the idols, thing of the idols, down to the end.
The thing of the idols, the green, dicky spawn of the stars, had awaked to claim its own. The stars were right again. And what an age-old cult failed to do by design, a band of innocent sailors had done by accident. After vigintillions of years, great Cthulhu was loose again and ravening for delight.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah. Again, we could easily slap that in right at the end of your previous take, fit right in perfectly fine.
Mm-hmm.
Note from Twitch over here: Cthulhu be hungry. But yeah, no, I really liked it. What did you all think? Again, I felt it fit with the previous
I
read.
liked it too. Very good.
Yeah, I wasn't picturing a scene. My mind just didn't go there. I was a little bit scatterbrained, but in the second read, I pictured the ship, and I was like, oh yeah, I know where the candles are. I know
Yeah.
who's listening. I know, like, it was so evocative. That was great.
Yeah.
Thank
No,
you.
fantastic. All right, cool. Well, that is the end of all of the readers that we had before the cold reads ended, but we still have a couple people we do need to get to, so we're going to go ahead and take care of you guys right here. We're going to end the Twitch stuff. Thank you all so much for being here. You know where all the links are down below. Again, thank you for everybody who supports us on Coffee. Your support is greatly, greatly appreciated. And we're working on our end to give you as much back as we possibly can with the support you've given us. So until next time, until Monday, actually. See you then. All right.